Okay, we're live. Testing, testing. Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn, are you there, God? It's me, Steven.
And in 3, 2, 1. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I am one of your hosts, Scott Jones. Joined as always, Mr. Paul Packler. Paul, how are you?
I'm very tired. I was out late for the past 2 nights, and I am too old to be partying this much.
You're not in college anymore, man.
Yeah, I've been out of college like 4 times as long as I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
Because they kicked me out after my first semester. It was a great 4 months.
Now, Corey, you've been partying. How are you?
I'm perfectly fine. I have no problems at all. I don't know why Paul is being such a puss about this. I was up last night until 12. I'm very proud of myself.
Scott, what about you? Were you up late partying?
Me? No, I'm actually getting over a cold right now.
Oh,
so
I just heard it for the first time now that you said it. You said the word cold and you can hear it.
Exactly. And you know, like what's like Corey from having kids, like you start getting diseases that you haven't had since you were in grade school. Like your body doesn't remember. It's like, oh yeah, we fought this up before, but that was when you were 8.
Did you start your family with a cold, or did you get it from someone in your family?
I think I got it from Henry.
And are Carrie and Maisie fine because she's breastfeeding?
Yes, they are good. They are good.
That's
She's breastfeeding. Maisie's fine.
Breastfeeding, the immunity is so good. It's so resistant.
It's amazing.
And it's so silly because you get these weeny little colds, and you know, in the grand scheme of things, they're weeny in terms of what's happening scientifically. And yet they're so irritating for a few days. And it's so easy. And you know, like whenever Logan comes home with a cold, I look at the calendar and I count the days that when I get the cold. It usually goes Logan, Corey, Susanna in my family.
Wow.
Things.
Wow.
That's amazing. I didn't know
It's
that.
one of those things as a parent, I get depressed if he gets sick. Because it's like, shit, now I'm gonna get it.
Wow.
And I hate being sick.
You just know. It's like Russian roulette. When is it my turn?
Well, and cooking is one of those things I don't feel like I can do if I have no energy and no voice. Those are the things that I need to have. Because I can sit and still engage a class for 3 hours with my energy and voice. But if I don't have both of those tools, fuck it.
You're screwed.
In 20 minutes.
You're absolutely screwed. You're screwed. Yep.
Should we do this episode?
Well, speaking of parents' relationships, we're on perfect set. Dear God, we're
Brilliant
on
segue, Scott
season
Jones.
4, episode 20. Season 4, episode 22. The name escapes me. What's the title, Paul?
My buddy.
Buddy.
My buddy.
My buddy. This just makes this episode even creepier. Okay. Now, in all my cold medication and sinus, clarify something for me. In this episode, did Steven attempt to talk about his sex life with a 13-year-old?
Guys. I don't think that girl was even 13. She was so young when I first saw her.
Yeah.
And when Cousin Eddie's wife said, "We're going to talk about sex today," and I looked at the girl that was the under 5 who looked like she was 9 years old, I was already like, why are you talking about sex with this child here sitting next to you? And then when Steven said, oh, the body on this girl, this other girl that he wanted to have sex with when he was a kid, to be fair to Steven, my jaw hit the floor and it's bruised right now.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that happened. All right, and we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But so we start off in the Keaton kitchen. They launch right into the.
I'm sorry, Scott.
Go for it. Go for it.
This is for all intents and purposes our Christmas episode. People are going to be listening this while they're home with their families, trying not to scream at each other about Donald Trump. And we're here talking about this man who is obsessed with being the center of every situation, Stephen Keaton. This motherfucker.
I was going to start by saying we spend every episode talking about what a sociopath Alex P. Keaton is the way written. And I'm here to tell you that in this episode, he gets some equal company from his sociopath of a father in this episode. Yep. And they didn't even drop it because in Alex, in his own right, in this episode, is also still continuing with his sociopathic ways. So you get two storylines in this episode of dueling sociopaths. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. They're narcissistic and sociopathic.
Yeah. And Alex, we'll get to later, almost commits violence multiple times against his sister.
On his sister. He lifts weapons. He chases her with a weapon.
I was going to say that too.
And at least
Mallory, like physically.
Nobody says anything. Like, Alex, don't hit your sister with the cheese board.
If there had been a knife in that kitchen, Mallory could have been seriously injured.
This episode does it for me on so many levels. And when I say doesn't for me, I mean enrages me. It enrages me on so many different levels. The A story, the B story, and the fact that they use orange juice 4 fucking times in this episode. I've got it circled on a piece of paper.
They're trying to use that orange juice as a way to, like, nullify our rage, and it's not gonna fucking work, Gary David Goldberg.
And I mentioned to Scott before, that this episode also features a moment of contradiction that really took my breath away. But we'll come back to that as we get there.
Okay. So, yeah, let's start at the top. So,
yeah. So, and they launch right into this premise. Jennifer comes in. She passes by Steven, who's working, and asks, if her sweater looks nice. Kind of a mother-daughter bonding. And it's very clear Jennifer is now very much a teenager. She's into what she's wearing and stuff. But completely, and Steven tries to chime in that he thinks it looks nice too, and Jennifer completely ignores him.
Now, I want to stop right here because this is the first moment where I said, wow, this is actually something that's happening in my real life right now with a teenage son. There are things that he would rather talk to his mother about, and there are things that he would rather talk to me about, and he does so either quietly, covertly, or he just turns his back and speaks to one. And you know what? One just has to deal with that. That's part of being a parent. That usually, the child usually seeks advice, and it's oddly enough based usually upon the gender of the parent. The child asks the mother questions about his skin right now. He asks his mother questions about what looks good on him when he wants to get dressed. He asks his mother to buy him things because she's not a Jew like I am. So there are so many things that he would rather talk to mom about. Now, if he wants to ask a question about the business, or if he wants to ask a question about writing, or if he wants to ask a question, then he comes to me. And it's not equal time, and it's not family time. It's just the way it works in a family.
Now, Corey, let me ask you this. You have an older son, obviously. Was it more of a problem for you with Griffin that did he sort of break up and ask different questions of his parents? Did you ever feel bad at that time?
Well, since I was divorced, no, because it was never in front of me.
All right.
Remember, he he had the privacy of asking his father when he was with his father and his mother when he was with his mother, and also had a stepmother here and Gary over on the other side. So he's got male and female, whatever home he was in, he could ask whatever question. Never felt that way.
And that's what was the reason I ask, is just because Steven has two other older children that he's already gone through this with.
Okay. That's what I was going to say. That's the other thing that is profoundly makes no sense. He's already experienced all of this at least one other time. In a girl sense with Mallory, in a child sense with Alex and Mallory, and Jennifer is not the last child. I would understand it if it's the baby and you're not going to have any more children, but they have Andy. So it's going to happen one more time.
And especially knowing what we know of Mallory, I'm sure he experienced this 10 times more with Mallory as far as what to wear, girl talk, clothes and stuff like that. That's just who Mallory is.
Absolutely.
And so it's so strange that he is this upset and this taken aback, so much so that we center the whole entire episode on it.
And as usual with family ties, they take somebody they take their frailty. In this case, he feels like he's losing Jennifer, and they just keep on making it worse and worse and worse for whoever it is. You know, it just gets the stake. I'd say the stakes get higher, but I don't think there are any stakes. So it's just, they just keep on getting more ridiculous and more ridiculous, leading to the school scene in the second act, which may be the most memorably ridiculous scene we've seen on this show yet.
Yes. So after Jennifer has ignored Steven, what we're getting to is Steven feels rejected. Losing her. Remember when she used to call me buddy? And this is where Alex and Mallory come in for our B plot. Alex gets a ticket
for a rolling stop
sign.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And while the officer, when the officer pulled him over, Mallory said, he said, "Officer, I did come to a complete stop." And Mallory said, "Don't lie, Alex," leading him to get a ticket.
He refers to Mallory in his initial rant as, this is the first piece of shoddy writing. I mean, this is really shoddy writing. My so-called sister.
What's even happening?
Yeah.
He says, my so-called sister. Well, it is your sister. It's not your so-called sister. That doesn't make any sense. Why would you refer to her as your so-called sister? The girl who claims to be my loving sister is what he really meant to preface this thing. Because it's like, my so-called sister did this. She threw me under the bus.
Right.
So-called sister makes no sense. It is her sister. She's not a so-called sister. She's
it is. Yeah, there's no question.
You say my so-called best friend when it's not a definitive thing. You know, my so-called favorite television show.
Yeah, it reminds Vince. I'm getting an echo. Can we pause for a second?
I'm starting to get a bad delay. Here, Scott.
I think. Oh, this is really annoying. I'm gonna just hang up and start again.
Okay,
that's it.